Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of Packet Bulletin Board System using a Raspberry Pi. In today's video, we will get LinBPQ configured and running, as well as setting a auto boot file so that Direwolf and LinBPQ will run on boot up or reboot. Stick around. All right, everybody, let's take a look at getting Pi LinBPQ set up to execute and work on the configuration file. If you remember last time, we downloaded Pi LinBPQ from the CanTabNet, and this is a link here for the download. I will be leaving links for these websites in the description. It says you should create a directory, LinBPQ, to hold the software and files. Simplest way is to use wget in the Pi version and rename to LinBPQ after downloading. Then you may need to make it executable with this command here. So since we've already downloaded it, let's back up to the home directory here, create a new folder and name it LinBPQ. Go to the downloads. I want to copy it just in case we mess up. LinBPQ, paste it and rename it to LinBPQ. So let's open a terminal, make it a little bit bigger, and we will cd into home Pi LinBPQ ls to list of files, and you see that LinBPQ is grayed out, and this means that it is not an executable file. But if we do chmod space +x space LinBPQ, hit enter, then list it again, it shows up as green, which means it is an executable file. Now let's take a look back at the website for configuration here. The node configuration is read from the file bpq32.cfg, which is the same as the Windows version. Note, Unix names it is case sensitive. The capital bpq32.config will not work. So if you're running it, such as here, the ./bpq, it should create the config file. So we'll go ./LinBPQ, and it says config file error. Let's look back in the folder, and there is no config file. I have seen this happen many times. So what we'll do is we will come over to this web page, which is sites.google.com. It's a BPQ 32 Quickstart guide. So if you can read through it if you want to. I'm not going to be doing that. I will want to come all the way to the bottom where it says bpq32.cfg. This is a generic config file. Over here is a download arrow, and we'll click that, and it should be downloading. Yes, it is downloaded. So let's go back to our Explorer, downloads, and there's a bpq32.config file that we just downloaded. We're going to copy that, go back into the LinBPQ folder, and paste it. Now remember, this page here said that it's case sensitive and the capital bpq32.config would not work. So let's take and rename this to lowercase BPQ 32 and see if that works. We'll hit the up arrow, and there it goes. It has started. Now, this does show a telnet server on port 02, and we can look at it using the web browser by going to the local host address, which is 127.0.0.1, and it will be port 8080. Now, as you can see, there is not a call sign or anything sitting up here. You can click here and edit the config, and it shows the config file. Let's cancel that, close this out, and we can hit Control C and terminate it. As you can see, it put some more files in here, the mherd saved and the nodes.dat. Those are log files for it. Let's right click in text editor. All right, let's make it full screen. Let's search, find and replace where it says my call, and I'll just use my call sign, and you can put your call sign in for your prospective bulletin board system. Now, I want to make sure that all in the document is replaced. Close, and you see all of this changed. Now, I'm not gonna have any type of password, so I'm gonna put the semicolon in there. I will put my locator, and as you can see, the node call, the node alias is pretty much the last three letters of your call sign with NOD on it. That's what I run into be a common naming for alias. So let's put QAM nod. Now here you see this is obviously not my QTH area, so I don't want that to be broadcast out, so I'm gonna comment that part of the line out, and I want to comment this alias out, and I want to change the name Ken to my call sign. Now here on the C text, let's comment that out. This is what you have as an option to type in the terminal window or however you're interfacing with for information. Now, I'm not going to be running an RMS on this one, so it's easy to modify. What I'm wanting to do is I want to copy it and then enter down and paste it back in, and come up here to this original line and comment it out. That way, if I make a mistake, I have the original text referenced and is commented out, and when it runs, the config file will not execute or post the lines that are commented out. So I want to delete RMS, connect by info nodes. Yeah, all of that's fine. The full text 0 equals send the text to node alias or send to all connectees. So let's send it to everybody. The network parameters we'll leave alone. This port here, port 1, would be used if you were going to set up a telnet link to your BBS. Most likely I'm going to come back and comment all of this out because it does take port forwarding on your routers. The telnet server is what we logged on to from the web browser. Now, if you're on another computer, you'd have to have the IP address of this one and port 8080 right here to log into it. So we'll leave all of this alone except for CMS. I will turn it off, and that means that it's connected to the WinLink gateway. And I will comment CMS call and CMS pass out. The CMS call is your username, or most likely your call sign for WinLink, and then the CMS pass is your WinLink password. So let's scroll on down. Radio port definitions. We're going to have to modify this one just a little bit to work with Direwolf. We see speeds 9600 and the channel is A. The COM port, we're not on a COM port, so we'll comment that out. Come to the end of this line here and come over. I have a copy of my old BPQ file. I want to shrink that down a little bit, minimize that, shrink this one down, pull this to the side, kind of get them lined up, and we'll take here and scroll down. I had a lot of information in that old file. All right, port number 3, we're going to have the IP address, so we'll just copy and paste that in. The TCP port is 8100 for, I was using UZ7HO. Copy that and paste it in, but we'll have to change that port. Speed 9600, channel A. We'll leave these other ones alone. Let me minimize that out of the way. Now, you can set this port up to be a digipeater. So if you was to set this 0 to a 1, you could make it digipeat back out on this port, which you would put a 3, or if you had multiple ports like VHF and HF, you could have the VHF digipeat out on the HF or the HF on the VHF. We'll leave these alone. Now, the applications, I'm going to turn off the RMS and leave the sysop on. Back up here on the telnet server, if you put your username that you assign yourself and give yourself a password and your call sign and save this, this will be your sysop login from the web browser. If I wanted to say my username is Don and my password would be my password, and put my call sign in there, that's what I would use to log into the web interface of the bulletin board system. What we'll do is we'll save this file and close it back out, and so we can hit that. All right, we'll see we forgot to change our port, but that's fine. Let's minimize this. All right, let's go to home and Pi, and this is where the Direwolf configuration was. So let's open that on a text editor, and we will scroll down. KISS port 8001. So if we go here and we go back to our, that's it there, port 8080, go edit config and scroll down here. All right, we said it was 8001 instead of 8100. So let's just click right there, 001, and hit save. Sometimes when you make a configuration change, you have to restart the bulletin board system. So what we'll do is we'll close it down, arrow up, and start again. All right, it's going to tell us there's an error because Direwolf is not running. Right. Okay, so let's Control-C this. Now that we know the KISS port is set right to talk with Direwolf, what we want to do, CD back to the home directory, and we know that everything is working and running as it should. Direwolf needs to have the USB sound card plugged in. It also needs to have the USB to serial converter that ties in with the sound card interface for push to talk. I'll get those hooked up and we'll pick back up then. I did not hook up the USB to serial converter for the sound card for push to talk, but I do have a USB sound card in there, And if we go Direwolf, it's ready to accept the client application on port 8001. So it's ready. Let's open a new tab. All right, now we're back into the LinBPQ software. Let's run it. Initializing, ready to accept application. All right, I don't know why all the black lines are in there, but it shows that it is connected and there's no arrows here. Let's stop the bulletin board system. All right, close this tab out. All right, the KISS client's gone away, so let's Control C Direwolf, close that out. Everything should be configured and working. So that means as it sits, every time you would have to go into these folders through the command windows and execute it through command line. Let's look back for installing and running LinBPQ automatically. All right, so what we need to do is we need to go in the Explorer, LinBPQ, and this says to create a script, run BPQ. Let's go to new file, and we will say run BPQ. Go into text editor, and let's just copy these lines right here and paste them. File, save. Close this out. Now we have to open the terminal, and we will cd home LinBPQ, ls for the files. All right, we see run BPQ listed, but it is grayed out. If we use this command here and paste it in, that should make run BPQ executable, and it is. Let's cd back to the home directory. Let's type in crontab-e. Sometimes it'll ask you which editor to use. This is Nano, so you select the appropriate number beside the Nano editor and hit enter. What I want to do is come down here. Now, you'll put these two lines in crontab-e. You control X, Y, and enter. And just to make sure they're in there, scroll all the way to the bottom, and there they are. What this is supposed to do is on reboot, it should automatically run Direwolf first, and then it should run LinBPQ. So I'm going to go through a reboot, and we'll see what happens. All right, we're back. Let's see how long it takes for all the normal stuff to start up before the cron tab kicks in. Oh, there we go. It says it's ready to accept the KISS TCP client application. It says it's attached. You see our green writing here. That's the USB sound card. I remember I did not plug in the sound card interface for push to talk. Why are we not seeing the bulletin board system run? All right, it ID'd. If we open the browser and we go back to our 127, it's sitting there running. So the bulletin board system is actually running in the background almost like a service. And you could take that, set this Raspberry Pi up headless, find the IP address of it. You can log in from another machine, pull this interface up, and you can go through and have all of your full control just like you were sitting at a terminal. All right, let's stop this. Now, every time this reboots, it'll run just exactly like that. This will save you from having to worry about power failures or, anything such as the sort if you're running it off of AC power. If you're running it off of DC power, such as batteries, and your batteries die, you get them charged up, the Raspberry Pi will kick on, the radio will be powered on, and everything will go back to normal. All right, everyone, that's all for today's video. On the next video, I will show you how to set up users as well as set up automatic forwarding. If you got anything from this, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that little bell notification for future videos. 7-3, thanks for stopping by.